A little introduction about myself and my company so that you'll understand a little bit about my perspective and where I come from within the .NET community. My name is Ryan Moore. My company is the More Creative Company. We're a small website design and development shop. We have 7 folks to our team. We have web developers, a couple of designers, we have a search engine marketing person, and day in and day out for the past many years since our first introduction to .NET Nuke 3.11 is that we have been building .NET Nuke websites for our clients. It's something that I'm careful to tell clients when we run across brand new projects or we're introducing ourselves to people that it's not that we have a fantastic hammer and therefore everything we see is a nail. But that said, everything really looks like a really good nail and we got the perfect hammer for it. There's really not much that we can't build with .NET Nuke. So when I talk about the class of people who use the module that we're going to be talking about, which is XMOD Pro, I consider ourselves in the DNN integrator group of people. In other words, we are not module developers. I have people who know .NET, I have people who are DBAs, I have people who do a variety of different things, but we don't build and release modules. We make websites. We make functional websites for clients to the specifications of what their functionality needs are for that particular project, for that particular thing. We're a service organization and we roll out websites plenty a year, and .NET Nuke is our preferred development platform. Now, if we consider .NET Nuke to be an application development platform, which is, I think, a term that I picked up from Nina Meyer when she was describing .NET Nuke compared to other content management systems, that .NET Nuke is more than just a content management system. It's a backbone for more development, for more customization. Where does XMOD Pro come in, and why am I trying to introduce it to everybody and just tell everybody about it? Put together a little presentation here. We're going to kind of go through it, and we're going to talk about what you do when you're faced with a brand new project. You've got a client that you want to satisfy, whatever they're wanting you to build, and you decide you're going to step forward and build it in .NET Nuke. So you have your initial problem. You need the perfect module to handle some particular task. So when you have a module that you're looking for, and you decide, okay, I need to get started here looking for this particular module, what are your options? Normally you have about 2 groups of categories for these options. Number 1, you buy and you customize. You go to snowcover.com. All of us who are integrators, we have our favorite 5 or 10 modules that we use over and over again because we've vetted a bunch of other ones that don't quite do what we need or don't quite have the customization that we need, and we stick to those. We get something new that we need, we go and look and see what's on Snowcover. We maybe find one. We maybe get source code, and we maybe get lucky in that we can customize it, and it's going to look and feel like the rest of the website we're trying to build. Many times we'll spend time trying to hack a module. We may have source code, we may not have source code, but we'll spend a little bit of time bending it to look like or do what we want it to do. So if option number 1 is really find an existing module and bend it to do what you need it to do, your other option, of course, is build a custom one. Build one from scratch. The majority of .NET Nuke developers that I run across choose this particular option. They say, well, I see something that I like, I found some other things, but it doesn't do what I want, so I'm just gonna build one from scratch. Well, that's fine. That's a great idea. Plenty of people are out there doing it. But it takes forever. It has its downsides. There's overhead just inherent in the fact that you are creating a custom module. Maybe you're not even trying to make it to sell. You just want to make it to roll out and use it on your own. Oh, well then you've got to compile it. You've got to prepare it for .NET Nuke 4. You've also got to prepare it for .NET Nuke 5 and 6. Maybe something else new happens. Now you've got pieces that are broken. How does it interact with other things? You've got a lot of problems that you tackle during the course of building a custom module from scratch. Well, if those are your 2 groups of options, I want to talk about your next option that's available. Developing a custom .NET Nuke solution with XMOD Pro. So just kind of talking about XMOD Pro in general. Anybody here familiar with XMOD Pro, or maybe the older version of XMOD Classic, or just singular XMOD? All right. All right. So XMOD Pro is a module that you install, and that module itself is a development platform. It's a tool that you use to build custom solutions. I'm careful not to say that you build custom modules, because XMOD Pro is the module. You build forms, templates, displays, feeds. You build things that are inside of XMOD Pro, and then you apply them throughout your .NET website by putting in the XMOD Pro module in lots of different places and configuring it different ways. So let's talk a little bit about XMOD Pro, just to give you an introduction to it. Save time and money using XMOD Pro for your custom development needs. XMOD Pro saves you time. Imagine buying one module that becomes your base platform for development, for creating the other custom things that you need, and you are not spending money anymore buying new modules and trying them out, throwing them away, buying other ones. Build the module you want on your own with XMOD Pro. Build it right the first time because you built it yourself. Now you can build anything with XMOD Pro. There are really no limits to the kinds of things you can build. There are some technical specifications about things you can do or not do with XMOD Pro that I can talk about later on in the answer session, but essentially there's nothing that a client can bring our way that I can't conceive of how we would build it in XMOD Pro. It's a solid solution that lets us build anything that we need to build. So, to be more specific about what XMOD Pro is a module that lets you create your own dynamic forms and your own dynamic lists and displays. That's it in a nutshell, and we'll get into it in a few minutes to talk about it and break it down into its individual elements. But if you've used limited things like the .NET Nuke Form and List module, that's a module that exists that lets you do a similar kind of thing, but nowhere nearly as flexible, extensible, and a robust a solution as XMOD Pro is. And really that's the reason or the birth behind why XMOD Pro was created. Just in case you're interested in who is behind XMOD Pro, DNN Dev is the company that creates XMOD Pro. They've been building .NET Nuke modules for a long time. Since 2004 was the release of several early applications or modules that were out there with what you might run across on the website is XMOD was the original one. I'm calling that XMOD Classic at this point. XMOD was much more form-driven, structured inside the module where you chose options, you clicked on items, you went through several screens of setup. You maybe had some templates involved with it, but it was a lot more running the system and configuring the system. Whereas XMOD Pro was birthed out of the new ideas as XMOD Classic went up through different levels and finally finished with XMOD version 5. It grew up to the point where XMOD Pro was created to give developers like us almost complete control of everything we wanted to do, because in the end, you're working in code. And it's code that you're familiar in working with and know what to do with. So let's talk a little bit about who uses XMOD Pro. XMOD Pro is used by different types of people for the different benefits it brings these groups of people. So DNN designers. Nothing ruins a perfect skin design and a perfect layout than grabbing some module that somebody's built and it looks nothing like what you've designed. You try and cover over it with CSS, you try and force your way to make it look better. You just can't sometimes. Well, build the module yourself with XMOD Pro and it looks exactly the way you want it to look, with exactly the styling and sizing and functionality that you want. DNN integrators, that's the camp that I fall into. And when we do the longer version of this presentation, I'll spend time showing you some of the things that we've released over the past 2 or 3 years that were built with XMOD Pro, just to show you the variety of different kinds of things that you can roll out. Entry .NET developers. You don't know .NET, you're not familiar or comfortable. Maybe you're a VB person and you're not comfortable heading over to C# for the new platform structures of .NET 6. Well, That's fine. You don't have to know any of that to do custom development with XMOD Pro. Application developers, we'll talk about it a little bit later on, but XMOD Pro allows for rapid application development. And many of the quotes that you'll find on the DNN Dev site talk about how people built stuff in an afternoon or perhaps in a weekend that would have taken them weeks and months to build if it was a traditional .NET module. And then finally, we head over to database developers, DBAs. You find that there are plenty of people who love the idea of using XMOD Pro as a reporting tool. They've built the data, they've built the relationships, they've built all these things. They maybe have a few tools that they're used to in .NET Nuke to put out records and data and reports, but not like the customization that they can provide for putting out those reports in XMOD Pro. So who uses XMOD Pro? A lot of different folks for a lot of different reasons. So let's talk about how you work in XMOD Pro and what you do. Again, we're doing kind of the short version of this presentation now. I'm skimming through things, but if you're interested or you see something you're interested in, stop me. Let's go into it with more details. But essentially, you build in standard HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and XMOD Pro tags and tokens. And when you are building and coding, it's all XML. It is completely familiar to you. And even entry-level web developers are able to pick up very quickly and begin building custom .NET Nuke modules, whereas they thought they'd never be able to do that if they weren't .NET developers.
Right.
Yes?
Can everybody stop and give Kurt a hand? He finally
Yay! Glad to have you. There, yes, thank you.
Oh, my gosh. That's awesome. Sorry to interrupt.
No problem. Let's talk about forms to begin with as one of the items to really focus in on. When you are in the control panel, and again, in the longer version, I'll spend time showing you the control panel and how it works, you create forms, and you have ways to create forms that are either what you're seeing right now, straight code view. You have an add form, you have an edit form, and what you're putting in place is raw HTML code, or specifically, XMOD Pro tags. So you have complete control when you want to work in code view. There's also a drag and drop form builder, so that you're able to bring in all of the fields perhaps straight out of a database table. So if you take a look at this, if you've set up the database table already, you can build a form in minutes with XMOD Pro because you choose the form, you choose the key field, you decide to auto-populate, and it immediately brings these things into the screen, and you're ready. If you want to touch nothing, you press save, and you're done in less than 30 seconds. If you want to, you spend time dragging and dropping, reorganizing. You're able to, up at the top, choose buttons, choose styles. Built into XMOD Pro is the jQuery UI for the theming and rolling your own themes for these forms. So it's very easy for you to build very quickly uniform, well-designed forms that then you can always go back into code view and completely take apart and put back together again with all of your own custom code.
You guys are asking about your Prezi wanting to know.
Oh, I'll talk about Prezi at the end, yeah. So forms, that's element number one of what you do when you're building in XMOD Pro.
You got a guy. He says he's not going to sleep at all tonight. This is cool stuff.
All right. So templates. Templates are your views or your displays of your data. And so when you are working in templates, it's the exact same type of thing. You're working in code. You're building your SQL queries to pull down the data and the records that you want. And ultimately, when you get down to it, what you are building are your lists, your grids, your data layout, how they loop, what the header and the footer and the organization of those things are, whether it's tabled or divs or any kind of thing you want to put together. It's your code and the way you put it together however you want. So you have complete control. Built into XMOD Pro are a ton of tools. Switch and case statements, pagination, Ajax display, searching, sorting, filtering, connection back into the forms for editing and deleting records. Obviously in the longer version we'll spend time showing you how these things work out. But the end point is that here in the, when talking about templates, They are the way that you create your display of what shows on screen. The third element that's in XMOD Pro, and this is a newer element from really the newest version of XMOD Pro 3, is feeds. Feeds are your exports. They're the same exact code and the same exact thing as your templates. They are exports of your data or displays of your data. The key difference in feeds is that they are outside of .NET Nuke. They are outside of the page. They're outside of the structure. They're in a page that renders only your code. Therefore, you can create RSS feeds. You can create CSV file downloads. You can create Excel files, PDF files. We're working on PDF stuff. You can create all kinds of different download files, Word documents, anything you want to, where you're not spitting out any other code other than exactly the formatting of what you need to spit out to create that document to be available for download. So when we get into talking about module kits and some of the things that they've produced recently for release on the DNN Dev website, we'll talk about the feeds example demo where you can pull down a demo module kit and learn. Just grab the code right there and start using it in your own projects to create Excel files, XML files, CSV files, media feeds, all kinds of different examples. So, how do you work in XMOD Pro? Let's click all the way out. How do you work in XMOD Pro? You work in forms, you work in templates, and you work in feeds. That covers how people edit the data and edit the records that you are creating, how those things are displayed or viewed, and all of the download and export type of functions that you want to create. Once you've covered that gamut, you can build anything you can possibly imagine.
They already asking when is part 2 of your presentation?
December the 15th, I believe, is what we're talking about. So, XMOD Pro examples in action. Again, I'm not going to spend time in this piece during this presentation, but basically we have a large amount of examples that I will spend time showing you how they work, how they're built, and what the pieces were that put them together. Is Sean on the way? Oh, they want to see Sean. There we go. Make sure for Sean, for the folks who didn't know about this, but for one of the parties, he came dressed as his bobbleheaded outfit.
That is true.
And so you've got to go look for it now that you've seen the bobblehead.
I also found out just now about the chat window.
Okay, so
We're giving them a hard time.
I'll spend time showing you some of these examples that we've built so that you can see the code and see the kind of things that we've been able to achieve for our clients. So skipping past examples in action, let's talk about module kits. Module Kits is a new release that just recently hit the DNN Dev website, and it just recently hit snowcovered.com. These are free modules that you can buy in Snowcovered for free, to put them in your cart, or if you're a registered member inside of DNN Dev with a paid license for XMOD Pro, you can download these module kits. Module kits are pre-made solutions for XMOD Pro. And you end up finding them at the DNN Dev website. It's advertised in a lot of different places, but I'll kind of also share some links for these things. At the moment, there are something like 7 to 9 different module kits that are available, and I'll kind of switch over to them real quick right here. And these are built as examples. Some of them are pre-made, ready to roll out to your client solutions. Drop them in a website and start using them. Other ones are intended as tools for you to learn. Take that code, take it apart, read through the comments and how it was built so that you'll have those aha moments of going, that's how they did this. Oh, that's fantastic. I can take this and strip the front off, put a different top on it, and make it my own. That's the point of what these module kits are. Because perhaps one of the only learning curves or criticisms about XMOD Pro is that if you don't have a project where you're not sure, if you don't have a project that you need to solve a problem, and you're just thinking, what am I going to build with XMOD Pro? It's kind of like being given a bucket of Legos, and you think, I could build anything. But you're not really sure what you want to build. You don't have any inspiration. You don't have any drive to build something. These are instruction booklets. These are pre-made kits that you're able to take a look at and go, wow, that is cool. How was that made? Let me take a look at it and take it apart and see what they did with it. So they have things like a jQuery slideshow, jQuery validation in forms versus the built-in validation in forms. One of the items I want to show you real quick that is one that I think is really fantastic is a Flash-based image gallery that is run from Cool-Iris. Cool-Iris is the maker of this particular Flash gallery, but it's got a lot of exciting appeal to the way this thing looks, because this is a Flash wall slider for these things, and you can zoom in, you can zoom out, you can go to full screen mode. This thing really has it all. Now, XMOD didn't build this. XMOD just connected into this. This existed as a Flash-based slideshow gallery out of full screen mode. And the ways that you can tie into Cool-Iris are either through an image RSS feed, or you can hard code a list of all of the images that are going to be displayed in the gallery. Well, that's a perfect dream for XMOD Pro. You've got a front end, you need to connect data to it from the back end. XMOD Pro is a great solution for that. What I'm showing now on screen is kind of an introduction to what module kits are. That is an advertisement that exists on the DNN Dev website. It's dnndev.com, dnndev.com, and I'll bring that up at the end of the presentation as well. So, come on, there we go. So, to finish up talking about what module kits are, module kits were developed to help developers get an introduction to what XMOD Pro is and what you can build with it. It's some pre-made solutions that if clients if developers are out there looking over snow covered and they say, I want an image gallery, they don't just have to look at the image galleries that are there. They're going to see an XMOD Pro image gallery and realize they don't just have to buy or download an image gallery module. They can buy download for free the XMOD Pro image gallery, pull that down, and not only do they now have the image gallery they were looking for, but they also are getting a foothold into a development platform that's going to allow them to build more custom modules. So let's kind of move on, and let's talk about how much does it cost and what are the scales of working with XMOD Pro. So XMOD Pro is one of the only modules that I've run across that is licensed this way. And I love the fact that it's licensed this way. It is built and designed for developers like my company that buy a module and then roll it out again and again and again and again to lots of different websites that we're working on. When you purchase XMOD Pro, your initial primary license is basically $150. And that is a developer license or a single client license if you're in a single entity. But once you've bought that one license, you can buy additional client licenses or child licenses very inexpensively and roll those out. So, 2 licenses, then you're talking about $189. 5 license pack, when you buy your original one plus 4 client licenses, $249. Once you've registered and you're already set up inside of the DNN Dev website, you can buy 5 packs of additional client licenses for $25 a pack, or $25 a license. So, to explain it if it's not clear, what are those primary and client licenses? The idea is that in a company like mine, where we're rolling it out again and again and again, as long as I keep my primary license renewed every year by doing a renewal or an upgrade purchase, then all of my client instances can upgrade all of the time to the newest version perpetually as long as my developer license is kept up to date. Keeping my developer license up to date also allows me to then, obviously get the new upgrades to the newest version of the system, regardless of whether you cross over version numbers. But it also entitles me to all of the benefits of downloading these free module kits, working through the community and really getting a lot of benefit out of being a developer that's invested in working with XMOD Pro in the long run.
Got a question.
Please.
It says, has it gotten any better with view state handling? Older XMOD with lots of fields would generate huge view state overhead.
If you're talking specifically about XMOD Classic, XMOD versus XMOD Pro, there were some substantial changes in the underlying structure between XMOD Classic and XMOD Pro. They are completely different bottom underlying structure, and there were huge improvements on the view state. There were huge improvements on the questions. There were huge improvements on the amount of data that ended up getting recorded. The larger your data got, the slower XMOD got, and that is so much better in XMOD Pro.
All right, so that was good. And then the next question is, how long is the developer's license good for?
The developer's license is good perpetually. If you install it on your website and you don't need upgrades and you don't want anything else, fine. You've installed it on that one website, you're done. Keep working on it and build more stuff with it, you're in good shape. But if you want to buy those client licenses cheaper, you have to have a renewed active annual license. So as a developer, you end up maintaining your annual license. And there are all kinds of sales for those annual licenses. So once your renewal date is coming up, they'll give you some discounts and say, hey, you've got to renew your annual license. Are you ready to do that now? That kind of thing. And also, if anyone, don't let me forget, we'll talk about a demo version as well towards the end of this, because it is available. You just have to ask for it. So how much does it cost? Hopefully pretty well covered. Let's talk about what people are saying about .NET, about XMOD Pro and developing things for .NET Nuke with XMOD Pro. These are quotes and things that, to prepare for this presentation, I pulled off of Snow Covered and off of the DNN Dev website. Things like people saying, wow, XMOD Pro is the best choice for any serious and rapid database-driven form and application development with DNN. I know I paid for and tried at least 5 others. That's all of our experience. We've tried lots of modules. We've gone through things. There are some modules that I will continue using. There are some types of things which I will never buy again. I will always go right out and build it, or reuse my previous code and build it and use it in XMOD Pro. Other people say the more they work with it, the more they get used to using it, the more they love using it. When you read through the forums and you really start talking about the community of people and you start talking together, most people who are using XMOD Pro all share an experience in which they had a eureka moment. They had an aha moment in which their brains split open and they realized there's nothing in the world that I can't build with XMOD Pro. Try and grab on here. Here we might even get into, quotes. This is my quote from my presentation here. This is a must-have for your .NET Nuke toolbox. Simple. I do want to get over to one other person's quote here. There we go. The things I can do in XMOD Pro literally in a couple of hours would take me days with .NET.
The guy just dropped a link, said that Kurt in Orlando said he put a link to the people in Hangout, said that they just posted this site and used 114 XMOD Pro templates on the site.
Absolutely, absolutely. A good average project that we put together and we build probably has anywhere from 40 to 60 XMOD Pro templates involved when you get into a really complex site. We probably topped out about 120 on a really complex, very large system type of website.
This one is secdigitalnetwork.com.
Hey, I know those guys. All right, so what people are saying about XMOD Pro, the main takeaway is people are saying they love XMOD Pro and that you should try it. Give it a shot. Start working with it because you're going to see pretty quickly what an invaluable tool it is for you. So, to kind of close off on the presentation here, this could be the last module you ever buy. Not the last one you ever use, but the last one you ever buy. Because from now on, you can be building your own custom modules instead of buying other people's modules. So, in closing here, we're talking about XMOD Pro and kind of zooming out all the way. There we go. The main website for XMOD Pro is at the owner company's website. It is dnndev.com. You'll find a lot of different information there. There's an active community of people. Most of the time, and that's part of how I got involved with the community to a higher extent, is I enjoyed going in. If I had a question or I couldn't figure out how to do something, I went to the forums. And if you talk about a good active forum base, they have it. You post questions. That day, later on the next morning, people have already posted follow-up questions to you or answers. And I'm one of the people doing that. If I go in and I get help from the forum, I answer 4 or 5 more questions. I just like doing that. And it seems to be that everyone enjoys doing that inside the forum. So it's a big active community, and it's a big .NET Nuke development family. So questions about XMOD Pro, DNN Dev, any specific requests for the next version when we do the full version in December?
Just out of curiosity, it is extremely powerful looking. How do you think that impacts the overall project cost for your clients? Because there is some time, obviously, involved in setting up some of these solutions.
I was going to say the kind of the opposite, that when clients come in with complex solutions that they need, to build those traditionally would be an extraordinary difference in cost versus that time and that cost for us to develop the same thing in XMOD Pro.
So compared to using modules specifically for that purpose or this purpose,
it just depends. It just depends. I'll say that we still, as a development company, we still use lots of different modules. There's some modules we just love. For instance, user registration modules. I'm working on a blog right now to explain to people how you can use XMOD Pro to do .NET Nuke user registration. And the complexity of the user profile field is one of the things that can be very complex to set up in XMOD Pro. We've done it several times, but every time we do it, the next time a project comes around, I think, do I want to use that or do I want to use user registration? I'll use some other user registration module if it's a small project or a small client. Maybe one that doesn't need anything special, but if it needs something special, that's when I turn to XMOD Pro every time. It's the people on the lower end that normally have the worst problem with that learning curve, because perhaps what they were expecting when they got XMOD Pro was something like a Data Springs module where you don't code or program, you just have a giant page full of forms and options. That's not what XMOD Pro is for. If you want that, go back to XMOD Classic, which you can do, or other things. But so these folks are the ones who have the bigger learning curve, and these are the people that the kits are provided for, that future things that they're planning to do are going to help get people through those learning curves. If you take a look on the website, Kelly Ford is the main guy of DNN Dev, and he's producing screencasts, video tutorials. He just keeps producing more and more and more of these things, and he wants to help people learn how to use the thing efficiently. So learning curve is really up to you. For me, being an integrator, but one who was used to going in and hacking my way through modules, XMOD Pro was a dream come true. And it was instantly back to doing all kinds of custom development like we used to do. And we were thinking, we're going to really have to brush up our skills, get into .NET, build more custom modules. Oh, what's XMOD Pro? Let me look at that. We've never looked back.
How much is Kelly paying you?
Yeah, no, I'm not an official employee yet.
I'm just,
Yeah.
it's obvious you're passionate, and
Yep.
this has been a very successful approach for you.
Yep.
We're looking forward to the next part.
Yep.
Yeah, so guys on here are pumped up about it, and they're saying it seems like it's come a long way since '07 or '08. And,
Probably, yeah, I can say that.
Their demo, Kurt's sending out links, and they're checking them out. They got their own little conversation going about.
A demo instance. There is not a demo version of XMOD Pro that's available. You gotta buy it and pull it down from Snow Covered. If you contact Kelly through the website, register as a user, put a support request in, you can get a demo version. There is a demo version that he'll pass out to you, but he wants you to be a registered person in the DNN Dev website. So jump through that step, then you got a demo version. But for me, I'm buying lots of expensive modules all the time. $125, $150 is nothing for me to jump into something, especially something that I can guarantee you guys is going to do something exciting for you.